Mundo Deportivo have reported that Chelsea have been linked with a surprise move for Arsenal midfielder Martin Zubamendi. New Blues boss Xabi Alonso is reportedly keen on the World Cup winner, but Arsenal have no intention of letting him leave, despite the £75 million arrival of Bruno Guimaraes. And Simon Phillips has reported that Xabi Alonso has told Chelsea he wants to sign Arsenal midfielder Martin Zubamendi this summer. Alonso has informed Chelsea that Zubamendi is a player he likes, but there is no indication that the clubs are currently pursuing a deal. Chelsea have admired Zubamendi for some time, while Arsenal are likely to consider his sale after an impressive debut season. Now, there's multiple reports now. Obviously, Simon Phillips I'm more inclined to believe and lean towards because he's been spot on this summer. Mundo Deportivo, I think it's more paper talk of being real, but there must be something within this. And what I think it really is conversations happening in and around Chelsea, Cobham, wherever it is, where Alonso's like, that is a player I like. Whether it's the profile, whether it's the playing style, whether it's his haircut, I don't know. Stamina, both foot, whatever it may be. I think Zubamendi is a good player, and I think he was unfairly criticised at Arsenal when he first signed, and I think he did have an impressive season for him. As much as it pains me to say it 'cause he's an Arsenal player, I think he is a good player. Now, they have just signed Bruno Guimaraes, so that does mean, I mean, what a midfield Arsenal are going to have with Rice, Guimaraes, Ødegaard if he stays, or is he gone? I don't know. I don't really keep up with Arsenal news. And the likes of Zubamendi being available in that midfield will be unreal, depending on how they want to set up. We've also got the likes of the Eze and stuff that could play in the 10, go out on the left and whatever. It's a frightening midfield, and that's something I think that we should be able to accept. But there could be a space where Zubamendi leaves. Maybe Zubamendi is that type of player profile that Alonso is trying to convince Chelsea to go for. When I mentioned earlier in the video about Alonso needing 2 signings to complete his 11, one being Pep Chavari, and that's done, but that one last midfielder option where everyone's looking at Alex Scott and Adam Wharton, maybe it's someone like Martin Zubamendi. I wouldn't be mad at it. I like his profile. I think him partnering Caicedo would actually be really, really good. I think it makes a lot of sense. And I think he's a versatile player. I think he's a Premier League winner. It makes sense to me. But I think this might be getting blown out of proportion just a little bit at this moment in time. Because even Simon Phillips has said, like, Chelsea aren't actively pursuing this deal. This has been conversations that Alonso basically saying, I really like this player, not go get me this player. Whether it's, I want this player, and this is why, and they're thinking about it, that could be the case too. I think Chelsea's midfield puzzle is slowly coming together through pre-season, and I think Enzo isn't even a part of it right now. That will get sorted at some point. But with the players he's got and the puzzle pieces left, he's slowly configuring it the way he wants. And I think there is a player there that is missing. And regardless of the Enzo stuff, Chelsea will go into the market and do something. Whether it is Alex Scott, whether it is Adam Wharton, whether it is Martin Zubamendi or a player along those lines. Because Jordan Henderson is there. He's not going to be that the final puzzle piece for the entirety of the season. He's going to have a bit part to play across the season for obvious reasons, right? And I think he will have a very valuable part of the season. But I'm not mad at being linked with Zubamendi because I'm not going to sit here and say he tears trees up. He just does his job very well. He scores the occasional goal as well. I'm just thinking about him and Caicedo together. That'd be class. But then I go back to the midfielders we're linked with, supposedly, and heavily. Adam Wharton is a completely different profile to Zubamendi. And both of those are a completely different profile to Alex Scott. So maybe Alex Scott makes the most sense because of the versatility. And he's got legs, a bit of pace about him, can do a bit of everything in midfield. Maybe he is the player that partners Moises Caicedo if Chelsea can get it over the line with Bournemouth, but I think that's going to cost a lot of money. Same with Adam Wharton. I think he'd be perfect. You guys know that he's my number 1 target. I've said that consistently through this whole window. I think he'd be perfect in that role. Whether or not that happens, the whole 45-day rule thing with Maxence Lacroix and Disasi probably going on loan and whatnot, maybe that doesn't happen. Or maybe they find a loophole somewhere. I don't know. It's like Villa and Chelsea. I think they go back in for Jackson at the end of the window because of the whole Garnacho deal and the 45 days and the Morgan Rogers deal, etc. I don't know. And then you look at Zubamendi, and I think that could also work as well. So I don't know, man. I think that the midfield is either we sign someone or we keep Enzo. And even if we keep Enzo, I still think we sign someone. It's so convoluted right now because I think we do need that extra midfielder. Lavia was exceptional today. Like I said, broke Chelsea history for himself. The first 90 minutes completed for him in over 3 years of football. Unreal. And he was class today. If he can stay fit, we don't need a midfielder because he's a world beater when he's fit. Very, very early to tell that right now. Basugo's tipped for a loan. We need someone. We sold Santos. Some of you have said Barco. Maybe Barco is that player. Maybe he is that player that sits next to Moises Caicedo. He's got pace, versatility, both feet, creative, can do the defensive work, can play left-hand side, can play over on the right, he can do whatever. He's a very utility player. Maybe he is that player that we need next to Caicedo. I don't really know. But when it comes to Martin Zubamendi, I think he ticks a lot of boxes. And I don't think, actually, before I say that, I'm going to rethink that. I think he ticks all the boxes and he would cost us a lot of money. Because Arsenal want to let him go on the cheap. And Arsenal are building squad depth this year. That is what they are doing. They've not made many signings. They've been turned down by a lot of people. Vinicius Jr., Morgan Rogers, whatever it may be. They've got Bruno over the line, and that makes their midfield scary and stacked. So I don't think they'd let Zubamendi go personally, and maybe this is something to watch. Who really knows? But let me know your thoughts and opinions down below regarding Chelsea. And Alonso apparently wanting Martin Zubamendi. Does he make sense for Chelsea? Can we get him on the cheap or cheap-ish? Would he be a £100 million signing, or would we be able to get him for £50-60 million? Does it make sense for Chelsea or Alonso? Do we go for...
El Mundial foi la melhor coisa que aconteceu em minha vida em termos de futebol, pero este é passado e hoje estar aqui representando Colo-Colo, grande clube com uma grande história, para mim é o melhor momento de minha carreira em termos de clube. Ha recebido propostas não só de muitos lados, pero como disse antes, sempre sonhei jogar em um equipo grande, em campeonato competitivo. Então, desde o primeiro dia sempre estive claro donde queria jogar. E sim, recebi muitas propostas, pero Colo-Colo sempre foi a prioridade. E hoje, se a minha avó ou os meus avós estivessem vivos, acho que seria um momento e um motivo de orgulho. E espero continuar a honrar a educação que eles me deram. E usar esse nome, acho que é uma homenagem grande para eles, e acho que até o final da minha carreira desportiva vou usar o nome, porque isso significa muito para mim.
Here's where things get interesting, because now we bring in the ex-player turned analyst perspective, the type of voice that doesn't deal in sourcing but in football logic. The pundit angle on this story isn't, here's what I've heard. It's, here's what makes sense. And when you break down Arsenal's midfield rotation over the last 18 months, the case builds itself. A deep-lying playmaker who can dictate tempo, break up transitions, and still contribute goals from distance. That's not a luxury signing, that's a structural necessity. The pundit take leans heavily into tactical identity. Arsenal's manager has built a possession-heavy system that occasionally lacks a true metronome in the deepest midfield slot. This is the profile that solves that puzzle. And when a manager who once played that exact position, and coached under someone who mastered it, starts publicly hinting that a player belongs at the highest level, that's not filler talk on a preseason panel. That's a message aimed somewhere very specific.